Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. I know it sounds a little echoey. I'm sorry about that. I'm working on trying to change the acoustics, but I haven't had a chance to do that quite yet. So today I wanted to come on here and kind of give an update on my channel and videos moving forward. For the past year or so, I have been doing 4 videos a week, always a Fragrance Fridays, Sample Saturdays, and then whatever 2 other videos a week. And that was really doable because throughout the past year, I've either been not teaching at all or I've only been teaching 1 course. So I had a lot more time to devote to this channel. That has changed drastically in the past couple weeks. So I am now teaching full-time, and I will be teaching like more than full-time in the spring. So I'm going to be cutting down my videos to 3 videos a week. For right now, I'm still gonna have Fragrance Fridays and Sample Saturdays. That's the plan. Sample Saturdays are a little more iffy. I'm sorry. It just depends on how many samples I have and if I get a chance to sit down and film. I did pre-film a lot of fragrance videos, so you will still see those coming up. So that won't change at all. And then I won't have Wednesday videos. That's my plan moving forward right now. So I will have Monday, Friday, Saturday videos. I know they're kind of clumped together. Let me know if you'd rather have Wednesday videos. I can change it Monday to Wednesday. But I wanted to give you kind of an update on that. I will still have my unboxing. That might be a bonus video every month whenever I get a chance to put it out. And I still am going to continue doing 4for4s. I have several of those planned out that I'm working on, and I'm still going to be doing my empties video. So those won't change. And it, like I said, or maybe I didn't say this, it's not going to change until October. I got a lot of things pre-filmed in August, so September is pretty much all done, and then I'll just kind of continuing as we move forward, try to get videos out, and you might get 1 bonus video a month other than those 3 a week. That's still a lot. That's still at least 12 videos a month. So I apologize for that. The other thing I wanted to talk about is kind of my job and how it all works, because I know I've referred to it as a new job and people have congratulated me on a new job, but it's really not a new job. It's really kind of the same job. So I wanted to kind of go over the hierarchy of academic teaching and kind of how they all work and kind of give you my experiences. Now, I'm going to use general terms because each college or university calls their professors by different things or their instructors by different names. So while the terms are going to be generic, it's a pretty universal problem or issue with almost every academic institution that I know of, looking at job postings and everything else and reading within academics. So like, I know it's universal. I know it doesn't just apply to English. I know it's across the board in all disciplines and at all universities and colleges, and even internationally, it's an issue as well. So there are like a few different tiers of teaching. The top rung is tenured professors. So they are job security. They've been teaching there for a long time. They've gone through a whole bunch of things. They published, they have been established, and they go through a whole process to become tenured. So they have job security. They are kind of the highest paid in the rungs. Then underneath that, you have tenure track professors, and they are ones that are trying to get there. So they're still working on publication. They might be going through the process because it's a long, involved process, and every institution, it's slightly different. So they're trying to get there. After those, you have instructors, lecturers, something. They go by many different names, and sometimes those names mean something vastly different. The track that I'm on is full-time faculty. I'm not on a tenure track. That is not something I will ever be able to achieve. Community colleges sometimes do that more, but at a university, you can't do that. So that's kind of where I am. It means that most of those contracts are yearly, and if you're on a regular one, it's kind of like 3 years, you're kind of thought of every 3 years, even though you have to sign a contract every year. And they have to give you a year's notice before, like, if they're not going to renew your contract for those 3 years, which is really nice. My position is not that way. Mine is considered a temporary position, so it's only for the 1 year and it's non-renewable. They make no guarantees whatsoever, and that is what I've been doing for many years. Let's see, 2017, and I did a video about this back then. I got my first temporary position, and that lasted a year, and at the end of the year they had 2 full-time regular positions open up, and I applied and went through all the interviews and everything, and I didn't get one of those 2 spots, but they opened up 4 temporary spots after that year. So there was 4 of us, and then they did renew that for another year, so that was 3 years with that. And then last year, everything kind of it went all to heck and gone. And our chair was trying to get more money for us. And the chair, or the head of the department, is kind of like the person that's in charge of everything. And but they still answer to even higher ups. So above the chair is usually the dean of the college, and then you have like the provost and the president and everything. It's really complicated. And once you get to those higher positions, you start getting a more livable wage, because even like nobody is making a lot of money that is teaching, not in English or the humanities anyway. Some of the other, like business, you do get a higher level of pay, but you don't go into it to make a lot of money. You go into coaching football to make a lot of money if you want to make a lot of money. If we look at it, you have like the president, the provost, the deans, the chairs, tenure track, or tenured and then tenure track, then full-time, and then temporary full-time, which is what I am. So it's basically, I'm doing the same job now for a 4th year, but it's slightly different because part of your contract is usually service. So that's like doing stuff for doing the business of the department. And it's difficult because with those positions, at least at my institution, you have to serve for 3 years. So you can't run if you don't have a 3-year contract. But part of your contract is to do that service and to serve on a committee. It was very complicated. I found a loophole, and I found a committee that I didn't have to do that. And I was lucky enough that that committee also had a stipend attached to it. So I got a little extra money for the work that I did on that committee. But it was difficult. It was also frustrating because temporary faculty don't get to vote on anything. Like, we have to go to all of the department meetings, but you can't vote because you don't have voting rights. So you have no say in the work of the department. Yeah, there's been a lot of issues. So now I'm doing the same thing again, except my job doesn't have service in it. So my contract is about $4,000 less this year than the last year that I taught as a full-time. So that was a big shock. And I'm also teaching, normally for us, it's 24 credits over the year. So 12 credits and 12 credits, or 4 classes and 4 classes for the most part. Since most of our classes are 3 credit, we do have some 4 credit. Well, the last year I taught, I took an overage because they didn't have a teacher for another class. So I was teaching 27 credits. Well, my contract this year is 27 credits. And so I feel like I've kind of gotten screwed out of a lot of money. Yeah, so that's where I am. And then underneath us is adjuncts, and those are pretty much that's a pretty universal term across the board. Adjuncts are part-time faculty. They're paid per credit, and you have no control over what classes, like how many classes you get. So sometimes you can get no classes, sometimes you can get 3 classes, and it just kind of, but you're capped at how many classes you can teach so that you don't be considered full-time or be eligible for benefits. And most schools also make it make it so that there's a way that part-time employees that are year-round can buy into benefits, but adjuncts never can, because they cut, like they'll say you have to work a 17-week contract, or you have to work 17 weeks before you can buy into benefits, but you have like a 16-week contract. It's crazy. So, and adjuncts are very underpaid. If any of the other ones are not overpaid, adjuncts are very underpaid. Usually it's about, well, this is about where I am. It's $1,000, $1,100, somewhere right around there per credit. So you're making maybe $10,000 a semester if you're really lucky, if you get all 3 of those classes and you're getting like the highest pay scale. Adjuncts, they were started because they were supposed to be people who worked in the field and then just did this because they liked it. But many adjuncts are asked to teach classes, or they do teach classes during the day, and their schedule changes constantly. So it's very hard to have other jobs with that as well, which is really frustrating because you're like, this is not enough to live on. And the university, I mean, they usually try to work a little bit, but they have, you know, where there's rooms, where they need people. So it's kind of a mess, and adjuncts get the short end of the stick most of the time, which is really frustrating. And I did that for 3 years before I became a full-time temporary faculty. And then last year I was considered an adjunct. And since I had been like the most senior of the adjuncts, and now I'm like considered the lowest, which is kind of frustrating, because seniority is really important if there's ever a position that opens up that's full-time, so that you can be considered for that next position.
So I forgot to mention graduate assistants, and graduate assistants are only at universities. They're not going to be at community colleges, or usually colleges, because they need a graduate program, obviously. And graduate assistants, depending on the institution, will either teach usually 3 classes or 4 classes a year, and those are classes on their own if they're in first year writing like I am. But it depends on the discipline. They might be actually assisting, but in English it's usually they are teaching their own classes, and they're paid at a slightly higher rate than adjuncts, so they do get a little bit more. And then of course their tuition is included in that as well, and some cases they also include housing, which I was really lucky that I got housing included with my graduate assistantship as well.
So I kind of talked about pay a little bit. The other thing I wanted to talk about is how I got my position this semester or this year. So I started out, and at the beginning of the summer, like June, I didn't have any classes for the fall at all, and I was a little freaked out because somehow I didn't get included on any of the lists, and I know like the pandemic is part of the reason, but like I got cut off of the list, so I didn't get my name in, or my times or my schedule in for classes like last spring or this fall. And I just lucked out that they needed an instructor in the spring so I could teach, and they contacted me and said, hey, you still want to teach, right? And I was like, yes, because I don't have anything else yet. So I got 1 class in June, and then at the very end of July, they said, hey, we have classes. These are the ones that are open. Do you want to teach any of these? And so I chose 2 of those because I could only have 3 classes. So I chose 2 of those, and I could have chosen 3 and given back my first class, but my first class kind of was like an ideal time. So then the week before school starts, and I've signed my contract for my 3 courses, getting $10,000 for the semester. And they go, Wednesday morning, I wake up and I check my email, and I get this email that's to several people, all adjuncts, saying, hey, we really need a teacher for this last class, and you can get a temporary position, a full-time position with it, with benefits. It's for 27 credits, but it's whoever answers first. So luckily I saw the email first, and I immediately and was like, I will take the class, but only if I can get that full-time position. So that worked out, and that's how I got it. And then I got an email from the head of our department going, hey, we really could use a 5th class. Like, since you're teaching 27 credits, do you want to teach 5 classes in the fall and 4 in the spring? And I was like, no, I don't, because classes start Monday and I'm just picking up a class, and it's a modality that I have never taught before, because I'm teaching hybrids for the first time. I've taught fully online classes, I've taught fully in-person classes, but so hybrids are a completely new thing to me. So yeah, I picked up that class on Wednesday. They were like, hey, do you want to take another one? I was like, no, because I'm already overwhelmed. I already got 2 of my classes, at the very end of July, and now I have this class that I'm going to be really scrambling for, and we've changed over like all of our learning management system. So that's been a whole mess too. That was all of the stuff for the other instructors was loaded, and then I had to like go through and try to figure out how to delete everything and add in my own stuff and make changes to everything. Yeah, so yes, update to my channel, how academics work. Let me know if you have questions, if you have other questions, or if you want me to do another video like this talking about academics and how it works in the job market. Let me know down below. I hope you are all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do consider subscribing, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.